What's good, YouTube family? This your boy Aristotle Investments, and I'm going to break down my top 5 stocks to buy in 2025. Now, I do not like to waste you guys' time because your time is valuable, so let's get right into it. The first stock that I like is AMD. Now, one of the big key reasons is their earnings grew by 800% over the past year. Okay, and analysts are in good agreement that the stock will rise, and I agree with analysts. Now, here is how they make money. It is important to view how companies make money. So they make money from their data center, clients, embedded gaming. Revenue is 24.3 billion. Okay, and here are all the expenses in orange. Here's all the money that they have to come out. Here's the gross profit. Okay, here's what they gross in profit after that. And then here's the earnings. Here's what they keep after all expenses. Okay, so I love to pay attention to the earnings, the revenue, and also how they make money. As far as all of this stuff, as far as the expenses, they're not as important to me as the earnings, revenue, and data center, but they, you need to keep an eye on these as well. Now, here is the actual graph that I need to show you guys that makes all the sense in the world, okay? Now, pay attention to this because this is going to be throughout the whole entire video. So this line, this white line, will be called the profitable line, right? Now, when it crosses above this white line, that means it's profitable. So that means their revenue is profitable. So they're making profitable revenue, 24.3 billion roughly of revenue in 2024. Then this green line is earnings. So blue is revenue, green is earnings. Now that is the net profit, and they have a 7.5% profit margin, which I believe will rise over the forthcoming years, right? And then free cash flow. And that is the cash flow that you have to make other investments, acquire other companies, things like that. So the thing I like is they are rising in revenue. And I want to show you guys the balance sheet that goes along with this. And it's the exact same thing. So pay attention to the 1.82, right? So it'll be 1.3, depending on 1.83, depending on what you're looking at, like right here, 1.83. Also pay attention to the profit margin because my sweet spot is the 10 to 20 mark, but it's nearly there. So that's good news with them. So let's get into this part right here. So here's the net income. As you can see, they made 1 billion, 1.82 billion, right? Or 1.83 if you like to round it up. So right here, here's the positive. They've been profitable for a minute. Okay. So even though they were more profitable back then, they are making more revenue, which means they are either making more investments, and I believe that the net income will eventually catch up. They will be in the 2.4, the 3 billion marks of net revenue. So here's TTM trailing 12 months. Remember, add 3 zeros to every number you see. All right, folks, so that's what I like about AMD. And as you can see, they have more than doubled their profits from last year, net-wise, and then their revenue is rising as well year over year. So that's what we like to see, a year-over-year revenue rise. Now check this out. Revenue is rising year over year. Net income will eventually catch up. What I would tell you guys, my best advice right now, AMD, as we record this video, is $126. But if it drops down to 110, I would recommend adding in. And then if it drops down to 100, that's where I would load at and hold, as far as leaps and shares, okay? So I'm currently in shares of AMD. I've been in for a minute since 2022, somewhere near the bottom down here, because I bought a lot of things during the last market dip. But like I said, folks, I would highly recommend that you guys average into everything you see in thirds. So if you have about $1,000, you would put 300 here, 300 here, 300 here, right? And that's how you would average into AMD. 300 at 126, 300 at 110, 300 at 100, correct? So that's exactly how I recommend getting into AMD. Now, the next stock that I want to talk about is Uber, and nobody is talking about this stock, and I'll show you guys why. because only a few pay attention to the balance sheet, okay? So check this out, folks. Earnings grew by 318% over the past year. That's what I like to see, okay? With the stock falling, and analysts are in agreement that the stock will rise by 50% roughly, correct? Now, let's look at how they make their money, okay? So mobility made a lot of money from that delivery, freight. So now Uber has added their top 3 streams of income. And I always told people Uber would have to diversify out of mobility in order to be profitable. And they're making their rounds. Gross profit $13.73 billion. And then the earnings are $4.4 billion after all expenses. All right, folks. So that is pretty good. Now let's go look at it. They have a 10% profit margin, which is that sweet spot I was telling you guys about. Now remember, they were once unprofitable, and this is the zero line, right? So free cash flow became profitable, then their earnings became profitable, and their revenue is steadily increasing, and I believe that it will continue to increase. And this is definitely a stock to invest into for the future. This is the future, in my opinion. They have a lot of growth as far as innovation, as far as revenue, everything. Like, look at this. This is just insane. And the good news is, folks, the stock price is decreasing. But look at this as well. Trailing 12 months, 4 times the revenue. Look at how they used to always be unprofitable. Negative 8.5 billion, negative 6.7 billion, negative 9 billion in 2022. To now profitable, folks. So that's one thing you got to pay attention to. Okay, now let's go look at the chart. Uber is now falling from its highs. It had a high of 86. So if we look at how far it has fallen so far, take the info line, come down real quick. We have a 31% decrease from highs. Uber in the $60 or $50 range, in my opinion, is a great buy. Even right now, to me, it's a great buy, especially for long term. I see this thing, definitely reaching $100 share price in the future based on the data that I showed you guys. Because look at this. They are increasing in revenue, increasing in net income, but the share price is falling, my people. So that is why I like Uber, all right? And I always like to take a look at, because you can always see the balance sheet, but when you see this graph, look at this. Doesn't it look like this thing is about to just moon? The earnings are going to be, even the profit margin will increase to a 15, 20% possibly. You get what I'm saying? So I love this about Uber. They're profitable and everything. They came back and they're on their way, and this is a future stock people need to pay attention to. Now, the third stock that I want you guys to pay attention to, of course, this is cliche with PLTR. Now, I've been in this thing since July, but I'm going to show you guys exactly what to look out for, all right? So first of all, earnings are forecast to grow by 24% per year. Earnings grew by 223% over the past year, all right? So I want you guys to pay attention to this too, how they make their money. Government contracting, commercial contracting, they're pretty much, a AI help, system. They do a lot of stuff, as far as marketing with the governments or whatnot. And earnings are $476 million. All right, let's make sure. So I'm going to show you guys their balance sheet as well, but we're going to go and look at my favorite chart real quick, and it is this. Remember, I told you guys, whenever it passed this white line, whenever the earnings pass this white line, I love it. All right, so this is like a breakout, a earnings breakout. Now they're profitable, just became profitable this year. So that's one of the things I like about them as well. Or what was it, last year they became profitable. Yep, so that was last year, mid-2023. All right. Now, free cash flow is rising, earnings are growing, revenue is steadily increasing. So I love to, buy into companies that are just becoming profitable because, they are on the rise. So you're catching the company before it has reached its stride of growth. Think about it. They're literally 1 year into being profitable. And then the other stocks that we saw were kind of similar, right? And we're going to break down some more stocks the same way. Okay. So let's go into this part right here. Now, as you guys can see, earnings are rising year over year. They're losing less money. So all numbers are in thousands. So you got to add 3 zeros to every number you see. Okay, folks. And what do you see? Net income right here. So now they're profitable trailing 12 months. Their earnings are rising year over year. Now, the only thing is, unlike Uber, their share price reflects their growth. Okay. Now, as far as me and my chat, we've been in PLTR since July, and I made absolute bank, folks. And I'll even show you guys real quick. There it goes. All right. So roughly 38K on this, 400%. So, you know, everybody is just now talking about it, but I like to buy things because you got to think, folks, I've been looking at the balance sheet for a minute. So we bought roughly in July, so around this time, and then it dipped a little bit. We bought the dip at 24, bought some more, and now we're in, folks. All right, so not only that, but we added to this bad boy, and this is a great company to add into, but my personal advice, these 3 lines, is to average in. If you have $1,000 to invest into this stock, you know, or $600, 200, you know, I would say at the 67 mark, 200, another 200 at the 57 mark, and then 47, another $200. All right. So 67, $200, 57, $200, and then 47, $200 for PLTR. Those will be my entry points. And if you guys want, whenever I get into the stock so you can make whatever I make, you get what I'm saying, as far as the returns, then tap in. All right. Link in the description. I'll post a link so you guys can get into my private Discord. Without further ado, let's get right into it so we can get to the next one. Oh, by the way, yes, I show. And that was DOCU as well. So yes, we got in both DOCU and PLTR. So both of those banged. Great bangers that we caught. You know, who does it better? I call them back to back, same day. You make 400%, 300% plus, 150%, and then team as well. We got in. So, you know, I'm just showing people the type of leaps that I be calling. You feel me? Everything I do, I call inside of my chat. Zoom as well. You see that, folks? So yeah, I do this. And they're all in this particular channel, leaks, long-term hold. I changed it to crypto now because now we're investing in crypto. Let's get into the last 2 stocks that I like. Now, the 4th stock on the list is Robinhood. All right, folks. So I do put a lot of money in Robinhood. I have made millions in Robinhood, so that's the good news. Now, what I like about them is they became profitable this year. Earnings are forecast to grow by 18% per year. All right, folks. So you guys know all about Robinhood. How do they make their money? By their brokerage. Their revenue, $2.41 billion. Gross profit, $2 billion, 2.08. And earnings, all right, after all expenses. Love to pay attention to this. $525 million in earnings. All right, folks. So here's our favorite graph again. As you guys can see, their earnings went from very unprofitable to just climbing and climbing and climbing. So we want to follow the trend. And then the free cash flow has nearly doubled, all right, this year. And then the earnings, the revenue is not only breaking all-time highs, but they're making new heights in revenue. Free cash flow is going all the way up. Earnings are going up. And that's what we like to see, folks. So if we go in and look at their actual balance sheet, and I'll show you guys the free cash flow to show you guys why that pink line is skyrocketing up. But yes, they are now profitable in the TTM, trailing 12 months, 525 million, okay? And they went from being an unprofitable company, but were profitable, 3 million in 2020, okay, folks? So I personally would recommend getting into Robinhood, 35 $30, and then $25 would be my entries. Every $5 averaging to Robinhood. If you decide to get in now, then 35, you can get in now. 35, 30, and then 25. So always average in. And you guys already know I got into Robinhood. All right, this was the leap we got into. This was 7/8/2024. So we got in a lot of stuff this day, didn't we? Yeah, I got in all of this stuff. Wow. Yeah, that was the day. All right, folks. So we look right here. I can show you guys my Robinhood gains right here. All right, made 17K. So I be in these things well before, they hit the internet. You get what I'm saying? But that's just in my private group. You know how some people say, the revolution won't be televised. But yes, I love Robinhood. Let me show you guys the cash flow statements. So here's the free cash flow. Notice that the free cash flow doubled, and that's why you'll see right here this pink line where it says free cash flow. That pink line, you see that it doubled. Okay? And that's what we like to see. And their profit margin is 22%. So that is a great profit margin, in my honest opinion. I told you guys I love the 10 to 20% profit margin, and if you can get 30 to 40s, even better. You get what I'm saying? But yes, Robinhood, love it. All right, that's the net stock I believe you should buy in the future. Now, the last stock that I want you guys to buy for 2025, all right, is Sophie. Became profitable this year, so that's what we like to see. Remember, I told you I am a this year profitable buff. I love these type of companies because I want to invest into your momentum. All right, earnings are forecast to grow by 35%, so that's also good news. Okay. Now, how do they make their money? Lending is where most of their money come from. Financial service, technology platform, gross profit, 2 billion. So I'm noticing that everybody's having these type of numbers. And then the earnings, $184 million. Okay. And here goes our favorite graph. So it's on its way. Free cash flow is about to break that zero line, that profitable line, right? And then their earnings, their revenue, right, in blue is steadily on the incline. And then their earnings are now profitable and heading towards the right direction. And I personally believe in the outlook and future growth of this company. All right, so we look at the balance sheet. Here we go, folks. As you can see, they are now profitable in the trailing 12 months. All right, so this year they are profitable, $184 billion. Okay, folks? And you guys already know I called this out to my chat. Now, we got into, some recent plays, and this thing went about 50%. So, yeah, we caught this 12-12, and we got in because of this bull flag, and we took profits on this particular day, which was yesterday. So, yeah, everybody banked on Sophie. And, yeah, even I banked. Like, we jumped to present. I showed people my gains. So it wasn't as much as I made off Hood and all the others, but I plan on making these similar gains, especially as it dropped. Now, Sophie is one of those things that, you can, it's pretty cheap. I would say every $2 get you a nice entry in. Every $3 down, maybe $13. If it comes back down to 13, definitely get in. If it comes back down even to, 14, 12, 10, keep averaging down every $2. And I would say that's a great entry for Sophie. I personally holding long term myself, and it broke out of this nice falling wedge pattern here, and it's heading to all-time highs. All right, folks. So all-time highs are roughly $28, and I love it. Sophie would be my final stock that I like to buy in 2025. Make sure you guys check out my chat. All right, folks. We have the best chat in the world. Okay. Today I called Johnson & Johnson. See that, folks? Literally called it, and 36% back in J&J, called it twice. All right, folks, called it twice. Caught this bad boy. So yes, we got the small account challenge. We got everything you need, folks. Make sure you tap in so you guys can start learning today. All right, folks. And then leaps and long term is where I'll post these long plays for you guys to grow your portfolio. All right, link in the description, or I'll pin the link in the comments. You guys tap in.